commentary by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We heard the glorification of Krishna and Srimati Radharani, and now Bhaktivinoda Thakur is gonna glorify Lalita Devi. Meditate on Sri Lalita as the matchless bosom friend of Srimati Radharani, the Queen of Braj. Rupa Goswami elaborately expressed this mood in his Sri Lalita Staka prayer from the Stavmala. I will read the translation. I offer obeisances to Lalita Devi, who is extremely expert due to her excellent qualities. Out of her elevated and intimate feelings of love, she wipes away glistering drops of perspiration from the lotus feet of Radha Mukunda. He has another verse to glorify Lalita Devi. I offer obeisances to Lalita Devi, who is extremely expert due to her excellent qualities. Her beautiful face defeats the brilliance of the rays of the full moon, and her eyes are ever restless like those of a startled dove. She is famous for her extraordinary proficiency in the art of dressing Radha, of whom she is an expert servant. He continued, I offer obeisances to Lalita Devi, who is extremely expert due to her excellent qualities. Her body is decorated with an attractive blouse and equally attractive cloth, whose design resemble the tail of an aesthetically dancing peacock. Her golden complexion defeats the brilliance of Gorochana, a bright yellow pigment. We continue glorifying, and there is a wonderful picture. Sri Lalita is Radha's incomparable friend and confidant. So wonderful scene of Radharani Lalita Devi together. Rupa Goswami has written many verses to glorify Lalita Devi, so we will finish this. I offer obeisances to Lalita Devi, who is extremely expert due to her excellent qualities. That's a common sentence. She teaches Radha by saying, quote, listen to words of wisdom. O Radhe, Kalankini, girl who has spoiled her reputation, never take a subordinate position and show a liberal heart to the great cheater Krishna. Always dominate him in all ways. Another one. I offer obeisances to Lalita Devi, who is extremely expert due to her excellent qualities. When she hears even a few crafty, filtrous words from Krishna to Radha, she becomes furious and with reddish eyes speaks clever words that immediately embarrass Krishna. I offer obeisances to Lalita Devi, who is extremely expert due to her excellent qualities. Various parental affection of the queen of the cowherd, Yasoda, reside in her. She is the guru of all her friends, Sakhis, in the art of friendship. She considers Radha and Balram's younger brother, Krishna, as non-different from her own life. I offer obeisances to Lalita Devi, who is extremely expert due to her excellent qualities. When she see any young maiden anywhere in Braj, she immediately considers whether that maiden is favorable to Vrushbhanu's daughter Radha. If so, Lalita fulfill all of that maiden's desire and thus fills her with gratitude. Now there is a beautiful picture. Yashoda lovingly gazes at Lalita, Radha's dear friend, making Radha and Visakha smile underneath the tree. Beautiful. Next picture, Sri Lalita Devi is extremely expert due to her excellent qualities, such as her dancing for Radha, Krishna, and their friends. From a description of Kavi Karnapur's Ananda Vrindavan Champu. Beautiful picture, Radha is dancing. All these gopis and sakhis are playing the instruments and watching intensely in the groves of Vrindavan forest. Hare Krishna. He continued, two more glorification. I offer obeisances to Lalita Devi, who is extremely expert due to her excellent qualities. She gives priority to the great and colorful love spots of Sri Radha and the Prince of Braj Krishna over all other festivals. She is the leader of the most prominent, loving, and friendly young girl of Gokul. And the last verse. The person who, in a joyous mood and with clarified vision, recite these 8 verses decorated with the qualities of Sri Lalita, receive the gifts of being attracted to and counted among the near and dear associates of the desire fulfilling creeper in the lineage of the husband of Kirtida, Srimati Radhika. So we stop here, and from tomorrow we will read the glorification of Vishakha Devi. So this verse number 9 glorified these Sakhis, and also glorification of Govardhan Hill and Radha Kund is also there in text 9. So now we will embark upon the life of Srila Prabhupada, who has taken so much austerity for all of us. And I think we are on chapter 8 or 9, 8. In every town and village. I'll read few lines to bring up to the speed, and then we will continue. But Prabhupada wanted the Africans, quote, "It is an African country," he said simply. "They are the proprietors. We should be preaching to them." That's where we left. So now we continue. As with everything else in Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada demonstrated how to do this also. He got the use of Radha Krishna temple in a predominantly African downtown area. The temple had a hall with doors opening onto the busy street. And Prabhupada instructed the devotees to hold kirtan in the hall, keeping the doors open. So all these, the whoever passed by through the street can hear the holy name. So compassionate. The devotees did as he asked. This is the good qualities of a disciple. And in 5 minutes, the hall began filling up with people. It was a shabby area of town, and the people who entered were illiterate and dirty. But they were curious, and they happily joined in the kirtan, smiling, clapping, and dancing. So Brahmananda Swami left the hall and went to the nearby house where Prabhupada was staying. Quote, the place is filled with people, Brahmananda Swami said, but it's not necessary for you to come. We can carry on and do the program ourselves. No, Prabhupada said, I must go. Brahmananda Swami tried to discourage him. No, I must go. Prabhupada repeated, are you going to take me? When Brahmananda Swami arrived with Srila Prabhupada, the hall was even more crowded than it had been a few minutes before. Prabhupada, in his silken saffron robes, appeared effulgent as he entered the dingy, poorly lit auditorium. As he walked, the crowd parted, leaving an aisle for him to pass among them, and they watched him curiously. On stage, Prabhupada had a kirtan and lecture. Although the Swami, although the Swahili speaking audience was unable to understand Prabhupada's lectures, the people were respectful and the kirtan they loved. This is nice qualities of the people. Uh, you know why I remember one of the incidents of Tamal Krishna Maharaj, that he had the root canal was done and it was infected. So he was in very much pain actually. And we have the program in Victoria on 59 South, about an hour drive from Houston, hour and 15 minutes. So when we have to leave, Gurudev was checking with different devotees. He asked first Guru Bhaktinatha as a medical doctor, what should I do? And she advised, don't go. And then finally, Gurudev called me and he said, Shyam Sundar, what should I do? I said, Gurudev, I know your feelings. Even though we will say that don't come, you will go. So it's better that I should say that you should come. He was very happy and he said, yes, I'm gonna come. And he gave a wonderful class, hour long, Hari Bol. So they don't want to miss any opportunity, how much eagerness they have. Members of the Indian community had been apprehensive of Prabhupada's opening their hall to the Africans, and some of them had attended to see what would happen. Observing Prabhupada's compassionate program, however, the Indians were impressed. Such an apparently simple program had the spiritual potency to erase cultural boundaries. This should be Brahmananda Swami's mission in Africa, Prabhupada insisted. Offering Krishna consciousness to the Africans, and the program should be simple, distributing prasadam, distributing free books, and chanting Hare Krishna with drums and kartals. Krishna consciousness should not be just another Nairobi Hindu religious society. The Hindus should take part by donating money, but Brahmananda Swami's preaching and recruiting should be among the Africans. When several black American disciples joined Prabhupada in Nairobi, Prabhupada told them, quote, 400 years ago, your ancestors were taken away from here as slaves. But just see how you have returned as masters. Prabhupada also organized Nairobi's first outdoor kirtan performance. The devotees went to Kamal Kunji's park, largest tree, a historical landmark connected with the Kenyan independence. As they stood chanting beneath the tree, a large crowd gathered and many began chanting. Some even danced in sort of tribal shuffle. One young man stepped forward and offered to translate Brahmanand Swami's speech into Swahili. The devotees distributed sweet bundi, and the people in the crowd really enjoyed themselves. The whole affair was a great success. Rushing back to Prabhupada, Brahmanand Swami reported on the wonderful kirtan in the park. Brahmananda felt the same emotion as in 1966 when he had reported to Prabhupada the success of the first kirtan at Washington Square Park in New York City. Now, as then, Brahmanand Swami had followed Prabhupada's instructions and the result had been successful. Prabhupada, by his personal example and by his pushing Brahmananda Swami, had within a few days changed the emphasis of preaching in Africa from Indians to Africans. The night of Srila Prabhupada's lecture at the University of Nairobi, 2,000 African students filled the auditorium, with hundreds more standing outside to look in through the doors and windows. First, Prabhupada had Bhuta Bhavana, a black American disciple, deliver a short introduction using some borrowed Swahili phrases. Harambe, he began, which means welcome, brothers. Let us work together. Then Prabhupada spoke. The whole world is simply hankering and lamenting. You African people are now hankering to be like the Europeans and Americans. But the Europeans have lost their empire. They are now lamenting. So one party is hankering and the other party is lamenting. Quote, we have come to these African countries to invite all intelligent Africans to come and understand this philosophy and then distribute it. You are trying to develop yourself, so develop very soundly. But don't imitate the Americans and Europeans who are living like cats and dogs. Such civilization will not stand. The atom bomb is already there. As soon as the next war breaks out, all the skyscraper building and everything else will be finished. We can remember 9/11. Try to understand from the real standpoint, the real view of human life. That is the Krishna consciousness movement. And we request you to come and try to understand this philosophy. Thank you very much. Unquote. The audience burst into applause, giving Prabhupada a standing ovation. This response proved once again that Krishna's message spoke to the heart. It was for all people, regardless of their political, geographic, or social predicament. When Prabhupada had first landed at the Nairobi airport, he had assured the reporter that he would be preaching to the Africans. And now he was. He was delivering to the African the same message and the same process of devotional service he had delivered to the Americans. What the American wanted and what the African wanted could be realized only in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness would work anywhere if sincere and intelligent persons would only come forward and help distribute it. So if you are consider yourself an intelligent person or a sincere person, we should take it seriously. Prabhupada continued with outside speaking engagement while appearing on the popular TV show Mambulio. Prabhupada displayed a painting of Lord Chaitanya dancing and chanting with his devotees. The interviewer asked Prabhupada, why only Caucasians appear to be in the picture? Quote, well, there are many colors in India, Prabhupada replied. And who is the central figure here? The interviewer asked. This is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prabhupada replied. He is God. He cannot be God, the large, burly interviewer retorted. What do you mean he is God? This is human being. But Prabhupada became even more aggressive than the interviewer. This is very nice. And I remember the one something, I think at London, I think. Some interviewer, the girl was making some comment on this dhoti and kurta and like this. And then right away said that it's a lot better than to show your legs because she was wearing very short skirt. Prabhupada is so powerful. So the interviewer said, why do you say he cannot come as a human being? Why God cannot come as a human being? In another of his many Nairobi lectures, Prabhupada stressed that peace was possible only on the spiritual platform. This is, we have to understand this. If we are not peaceful, it shows that we are lacking spirituality in our life. And without being peaceful, what is the chances of getting away from this material energy? There is no hope. Krishna consciousness alone would unite the present fictions. Quote, for instance, in Africa, the Indian may be satisfied with their own methods, but the Africans are not satisfied. So if one is dissatisfied in material life, then another is satisfied. And there will be disturbance. But if you come to the Krishna consciousness platform, if you engage yourself in the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then your mind and soul will be fully satisfied. So Prabhupada went on to explain his plan for helping Africans. Quote, we have come to Africa to educate the people, not only Indians or the Hindus, but also the native people, the local population. I'm glad that our people are going to Sankirtan, party in the street, as we go everywhere, in London, in New York, and all the big cities of the world. We are trying to lead our Sankirtan parties through the streets, and the local African boys and girls and gentlemen are gathering. They are receiving this moment. Quote, so there is every possibility of spreading Krishna consciousness everywhere. This movement has come here, so I request that those who are present try to cooperate with the Krishna consciousness movement. And you all are present. Haribo. And I'm sure that the African boys and girls will take part in it, as you have experienced. We have a great many African boys and girls as our students in America. So there is no difficulty. Quote, it is not that because one is very busy, therefore he cannot serve God. Haribol. Did you hear it? It is not that because one is very busy, therefore he cannot serve God. Or that because one is poor or black or white, that he cannot serve God. No. Anyone who takes to the process of pure devotional service will never be checked. I shared that experience early in the morning that I was coughing so much, like from 12:30 onward, I was just coughing and coughing. And Shamalabi told me, how you are going to chant today? I said, just wait and see. When it happened 1:45, the thing will get changed. And who has witnessed me? I have to get up 2 times to take honey and Sitopaladi churna. That's my medicine for cough. I have to take 2 times. It was so bad when I started. But as you see, who join after 5 o'clock, they may have not seen any difference. So I was just thinking how Krishna and holy name is so sweet and so nice. All this disease will go away and allow us to chant. It was a unique experience. So nice to see that. I was even worried myself that how I'm gonna chant. Krishna is very kind. Prabhupada also asked his audience to help the devotees establish a center in Nairobi. Quote, we must have a place to stay. Unless we stay, how can we prosecute the movement? Therefore, help us immediately. Give us a place and see how things improve. You have already tasted this movement and found that it has been successful all over the world. Why not in Africa? We are not a sectarian group. We don't consider whether one is African or American. So in Nairobi, Prabhupada heard of a new law in Tanzania that after 10 years, all private property would automatically become the property of the state, and that the owner would be entitled to only a 10% reimbursement. Haribol. This was a typical Kali Yuga law, Prabhupada remarked. The state passes a law with no reasoning and no benefit for the people. The state should protect the people, Prabhupada said. In Vedic history, during the misrule of the demoniac king Vina, the sages and the Brahmana had become very disturbed and had punished him. The sadhu's duty was to make sure the king ruled justly. But today, nowhere in the world were political affairs in order. There was no sane philosophy to guide the societies. And in the old time in the war, the leader has to go in the front line. And I think if we just make the rule that all the leader has to go on the front line of the battlefield, all this nonsense war going on will stop immediately. That's all we have to do is just hold them responsible. That if you are going to claim any war, you have to go in the front line and you will see nobody will dare to take up the war. So many young people are dying every single day. So let's read the last paragraph before we end our session. Quote, we must begin to interfere, Prabhupada urged his disciple. Now we are 500 men and we each have 50 years. So think of what we can do. But you must become dedicated as I am. Sometimes a Vaishnava is criticized as doing nothing. But Arjuna and Hanuman were Vaishnava warriors. When the High Court judged were Tilak, then we are successful. My Guru Maharaj says that my godbrothers were for getting temples, some rice, eating a little, chanting. But for us, first we work, then samadhi. What a wonderful instruction has been given that we have to dedicate when we are young. And then a later part of the life, you can take it easy, chant the holy name, and absorbs your life in chanting the Hare Krishna. But when you are young, you have to dedicate completely to Srila Prabhupada mission. This is what the message we hear today. And we have to remain dedicated, sincere. And if we are intelligent, we should take up this process because there is no peace in the world until we take shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. And that's, you see it in the life of everyone. You look at this. All the sannyasis in ISKCON, how peaceful they are, even though they travel on a daily basis. Have you seen them? It's really, scratching their head or any anxiety? No, because they have been enlightened. And today in the meditations at 4:30, we hear a wonderful thing that Uddhava, when Krishna departed from the world, all the queens were there in Dwarka, gopis were there in Vrindavan. So they all advised that they should go because Uddhava, he came one more earlier time also, Krishna sang when Krishna went to Mathura to give a solace. So Uddhava did that. But Krishna's main purpose was to teach Uddhava because he was a Jnani Bhakta. So he need to make him a real devotee. So Krishna actually does so many things in one activity. One way, he will give the message to the dear gopis, Nanda Baba, Yasoda, Radharani. But at the same time, he wants Uddhava to see how much Brajavasis love Krishna. So then he became so much that he asked for that they should walk over their head. So he became a grass at the Kusum Sarovar. When you visit it, there is a nice Uddhava Kyari there. And today we read that when Krishna departed from this world, they requested, go to Braj, go to the Kusum Sarovar, where this grass is there, that's Uddhava, non-different. And they start doing the kirtan so loudly, Hare Krishna mantra, and Uddhava came in the original form, beautiful. He looks exactly like Krishna, very dear, close friend in Dwarka, and cousin also. So then they all request, even Parikshit Maharaj was there. They all requested that we want to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from you. So then Uddhava told Parikshit Maharaj that you have to go because Kali Yuga is coming, so you have to take care of that. And Parikshit Maharaj was feeling so disappointed that look, how unfortunate I am that I am not able to hear from Uddhava. But Uddhava give him the solace that don't worry, in short time you will be able to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami. So then he was at peace and then he left to his work. And it says that when Uddhava starts speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, the audience, all the queens and the gopis and sakhis and everyone, whoever was present listening this katha, they completely lose their, whereabout. They don't know where they are or anything. And it says that they were able to, when he was speaking, and a lot of the time I also request devotees that we have to practice to visualize in a movie form different pastimes. And we can do that easily. Practice it. Because when we leave this world, we can utilize this film to absorb our mind, because that's a terrible time will come, definitely. It's destined to happen sometime. So what happened? How intensely, how with full concentration they were listening the wonderful Srimad Bhagavatam, which is nothing but the pastimes. And they were able to see the pastimes. Not only see, they entered into the pastime. Not only they entered temporarily, they eternally entered into the pastime, go back home, back to Godhead. Here we go. So this is the chance when we go with the pure heart in Vrindavan at Kusum Sarovar, you can feel those vibrations. Uddhavas is speaking. We have to clean our heart first to realize those in-depth realizations. And this is the only process that we have to remain so fixed in chanting the holy name. And I have seen in my life Krishna make all these arrangements. Impossible become possible. Like today, I was so surprised that how I was able to chant. Only by the mercy of the holy name, it become possible. So have little faith. Experience those things in your life, and then you will become fixed, because you know that it works. Unless we realize that only through chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we will be able to understand our relationship with Krishna. And when we will able to understand the relationship with Krishna, there is no more suffering, no more birth and death. And that's what Prabhupada came to the Western world to give it to all of us. And I can tell you that in the scripture it says that millions of scorpions will bite our body when this soul will leave this engagement, this body. But the more pain we will realize, we will feel when we will know that we have not completed our task in this life. That will give so much pain. That look, I have been blessed by Krishna, having food, I have the roof on the house, everything is there. I never take advantage of it. And then we know at that time how much suffering is ahead of us. And that scares the people. You know, you see some people when you give a bath, sometimes you see they have passed the stool or they have passed the urine because of the fear. They see how dangerous it is. We have to live so. Please stay focused on this one important thing. And the most important thing, one thing you can do that will solve all the problem, go to the bed at 8 o'clock and you will see, do whatever you are doing, do everything, but go to the bed at 8 o'clock and wake up early in the morning and chant Hare Krishna, and you see, because nobody goes to work at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, unless somebody has a night shift. So thank you very much. I would like to offer my humble obeisances at the dusk of this lotus feet of this wonderful Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. I'm eternally grateful to you all for taking the austerities and giving us the support. Like Prabhupada said, one stick can easily broken. If we have to continue this sadhana ourselves, just think about it. Very difficult, extremely difficult. I can guarantee you that if we have not this program, I don't think that I have every day started chanting before 2 o'clock. Impossible. I can tell you that much. So this Sangha is so nice, helping us to mold our life. And we see the devotees, joining before 2 o'clock. So there is a real example in front of our eyes. You just have to wake up one day. I remember, I'm so talkative. But when I joined in ISKCON, I used to tell my friend circle, that in Hare Krishna temple there is a Mangala Arati at 4:30. And they were making the joke and fun of me. Who will go at 4:30 in the morning? I said, well, they claim that 365 days, every day they have a Mangala Arati. And the Pujari will do the Arati. And some devotee will be there also in the temple room. So I said, you have to go only once a year, randomly. Just decide, one should go in January, one should go in February, one should go in March. You all try out once a year. And you will see there is a Mangalarti. Don't just say that, oh, who knows, they just say it. So similarly, we have to be punctual in our practices. That is what is required. Determined effort, not simple effort or useless effort. Determined effort with sincerity. Then we will cross over this nuisance of material existence once and for all, and we will stay together eternally in the kingdom of God. What a beautiful thing, right? We can remember each and every one of us. And we have a nice relationship in kingdom of God. So let's remain intact, close to each other, support each other in the difficult time. And this is the goal of the human form of life. So again, let me offer my humble obeisances. Vanchakalpatarabhasya, Kripasindhuvayavacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo,